everybody, it's Cheyenne and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about assisting with patients that have a mental illness or a disability and just some tips and tricks I've learned along the way to help the procedure run smoothly or to get the work done that needs to get done. Now, I have gotten a few messages about this lately and a few comments asking if I could do a video on this. And I have worked on some patients that have mental illnesses and disabilities. And I also grew up with a family member that has a disability. So there's just some techniques that I'm just gonna give my opinion on. And if you guys have any tips and tricks too, please leave them down below. And first off, I just wanna say, you know, it's okay to feel a little nervous working with somebody with a mental illness or a disability, but you wanna make sure you make them feel comfortable and you don't wanna treat them any differently than you would any other patient. You wanna treat them exactly the same. That being said, the first one is disabilities. I have worked on some patients that, you know, are unable to get out of their wheelchair and they're unable to transfer into our dentist chair. Now, I've seen some really cool offices that have chairs that are available for people with disabilities, but unfortunately, none of the offices I've worked in are able to do that or have those type of chairs. So most of the time, if the patients aren't able to transfer out of their wheelchair into our dentist chair, then they need to stay in their chair. And with that being said, it is really important that the patient has a chair that's able to recline back, because if they're unable to recline back, it is really difficult to do work on them. But again, we have done it in the past. You just want to accommodate the patients the best that you can, and it's really up to your dentist if he feels comfortable doing that. Now, something else I've learned while assisting is that we are not able to help patients transfer from their wheelchairs to their chairs. If a patient needs help transferring, they need to bring a caretaker with them or somebody that's going to help them transfer. Because of insurance reasons and liability, us as staff members are not able to physically help someone move from their chair into our chair. They need to bring somebody that's able to do that. With that being said, of course, I have maybe like helped an elderly patient up or things like that. That's all okay. But physically transferring somebody into another chair needs to be done by a caretaker, and they need to bring somebody with them that can do that. So again, people that can't transfer into chairs, you kind of have to figure out a way to work with them, and your dentist should help you with this. Now, usually in offices I've worked at before, we'll have them kind of pull their wheelchair up right against the dentist chair, and then I'll have to pull my hoses over our chair, and the dentist will have to kind of swing over his hand pieces and get into a position that's kind of comfortable, and then you usually have to stand during procedures for that. And also, it is easier if they have a chair that reclines, so hopefully they have a chair that reclines, but again, it's really up to your dentist and what he's comfortable with doing. But yeah, usually we have them pull up right alongside the dentist chair, they recline back, and we're able to do treatment like that with us standing. But you really just kind of want to accommodate them and make them feel comfortable. You want to be careful with things that you say. You don't want to, you know, make it seem like they're being a burden or anything like that. I've never heard of an office that strictly helps people with disabilities or that are in wheelchairs or can't move out of their chairs. But with that being said, I think that would be great. And if you know of an office that does, or if your office does do that, please let me know down below, because around where I live, I've never heard of an office doing that. But I think that would be terrific, because it can be challenging, especially with like x-rays and things like that. You have to move the x-ray chair out of the way, and you know, those can be heavy, and then the patient has to back in, or you know, however your x-ray is set up. But yeah, just want to make them feel comfortable and accommodate them, and speak with your dentist beforehand if you know a patient is arriving in a wheelchair. If you are front desk, or you know, I hope your front desk communicates with you and says, hey, this person is in a wheelchair, it might have to have a little bit more time for the procedure, a little more time to get them situated and things like that. But yeah. Now, patients with mental disabilities. Now, there is a wide range of mental disabilities that a patient can have. Just a few things that I've learned just with dealing with my family member or being in certain situations is if they have like a learning disability or if they're autistic, a lot of the time they like to get a reaction out of you. So they say a lot of funny things, or, you know, they like a lot of humor. So just to keep the procedure running smoothly and to make sure, you know, you're getting everything done the allotted time, I really try hard not to really play into like a lot of their jokes and things like that. If they say something funny, kind of give it a quick laugh, but then, you know, move on. Keep them in a certain direction. You don't want to laugh too hard, or like, I don't know if this is making sense, but you just don't want to, you want to keep them on track, basically. They might throw little jokes out here and there because they want to make you laugh, which is great. And don't be afraid to laugh, but try to keep the patient on track to keep yourself on time. Also, explain things to them. A lot of the times they want to know what's happening. So explain what you're going to be doing, what the procedure is, make them feel relaxed. If there are certain things that, you know, they need to feel comfortable. I had a patient that kind of, he fidgeted a lot. I noticed he was doing this with his hands. So I asked him if he wanted some stress balls, and during the procedure, he was able to kind of squeeze those, and it kept him comfortable and occupied. Just being aware of what you're noticing. And if they are a fidgeter, maybe give them something to fidget with. I've had some patients that don't like things on their face, so we've had to figure out a way to keep their eyes protected during a procedure. So we actually just had him close his eyes. You know, you just want to be accommodating and pay attention to what that patient may need to make it through the procedure. Offices that I've worked in, we don't sedate patients. We do something like Ativan or Halcyon, which is a sedative. They're still fully awake, they're just very sleepy, and they do have a driver. But you can offer that too to them, or a caretaker if someone's there with them, just to kind of put them at ease for the procedure. But most general offices don't sedate patients fully, like putting them to sleep. Usually that's just oral surgeons. And if a patient does need that, then you can refer them to an oral surgeon. They can see an oral surgeon instead for work, or they can go into an office that does offer that. But most general dentists don't usually offer sedation. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. You just want to be really accommodating and, you know, be aware of the situation, keep them on track, explain what's going on, be like, you know, we're going to, like, for an injection, like, oh, they're gonna place some topical jelly and it's gonna taste, you know, like mint or pina colada, whatever the flavor is. And then the dentist is going to make that tooth go to sleep. And then we're gonna come back and remove some of the sugar bugs or tooth decay. And then we're gonna place a filling, and then we're gonna shine a light, and it's gonna stick to the tooth, and that's it. Then you're all done. Like, try to keep it very simple and just explain the process to them to where they would understand it. Also, with that being said, I always let my dentist know if a patient has a disability, if they have a, you know, any type of disability, if it's a mental illness. Also, if, you know, if they're really high anxiety or they're scared, when I go in there and let my dentist know that we're ready for a procedure or a filling, or if it's a new patient exam, I always tell him, like, hey, just so you know, like, he is in a wheelchair, or, you know, he can't transfer, or he can't be leaned back, or, you know, he does have a learning disability. And just so he's aware when he goes into the room and you're not, or the dentist is not caught off guard. So you want to make sure you communicate with your dentist as well and keeping them informed. I also find it helpful too that you kind of have like a calm demeanor. You want to stay calm during procedure, especially when you're explaining things. You don't want to get patients riled up or things like that. So explain things very simple, explain the procedure, make them feel like they're involved, but also be calm about it. And, you know, if they need something for distraction, I have another patient that comes in, and every time she comes in, she wants toothbrushes. So I always give her a couple toothbrushes, you know, whatever you need to do just to get them through the procedure. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I would just say, stay calm, explain things, you know, keep them informed, and just be accommodating and treat them just like you would any other patient. But yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.